guys, I'm Pravalika.
Hi, I'm Priyanka, and welcome to Girlfriends Unplugged.
Yes, we are back with another episode this week, and today we are going to talk a lot about Desi parenting. I'm sure you got a good laugh just thinking about
Yeah,
it, right? Yeah, a lot of things that happened in your childhood, especially. And I think even in on this topic, we probably would have different experiences because I have my mom is a single mother, and you have both your parents, and probably probably there are some different experience for you and me. So
yeah.
tell me maybe a few things that you distinctly remember or from your parents back in your childhood.
So, this thing I'm thinking a lot once I became a parent. Like when I'm dealing with my twins, especially with my girl, she is very rebellious, you know. If I ask her not to do something, like although she is
Mhm.
very small and maybe I am not explaining the hazards that could be associated. Yeah, sometimes like doing things that I know which has safety issues which could lead to something, she could
Mm,
get hurt. And
mm,
maybe I'm not putting it the whole thing across to her because she's still a kid, and I am like instinctively saying, don't do this,
mhm.
and she will do that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I get very angry. And how do I control that? I want to put fear in her, but at the same time, uh, I feel like she should be fearless in general. I feel she should be
Mm,
fearless. She should have her own sense of freedom. She should
mhm,
not be dependent on me. I want her to be self-dependent. Even for my boy also, I want the same things. But
mm,
it's just that I feel he listens to me, which is
mhm,
good. And I have both the flavors, and still I struggle with the fact that what is right or what is wrong. Okay.
mm, mm,
And as we were discussing last day, and it's like it's an ongoing struggle. Like there are days when I feel that she should listen to me, or there are days when I feel like no, she should have her own set of thoughts, her own, she should have use her own brain and not just
mm,
depend on an elder. Because you know a common thing that I felt, that I still feel about elders or my parents generation is,
mhm,
they feel that you are right because you are older in age and you have more experiences, which might not be true always.
mhm,
uh, and I think recently also I felt that I there are a lot of things that we can learn from children.
mm.
What do you think?
Yeah, the first point that you said, that you think a lot about the parenting style after
Hmm.
you became a parent, right? And
Hmm.
that's absolutely true because only once we are in that position, we will we will know how good or bad we are doing and what we had experienced before.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
um, do you think this the parenting style from your parents has influenced you in the way you act now or you behave now with your
Yeah,
kids?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like you do what you have experienced, right? And for me it was like I feel that it's the right way. Like if I am,
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, if I am beating my children,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, when I look back to instances, I
Mm-hmm.
feel that, instead of, beating me or my sister, it would have been better if we were given the freedom to express ourselves better or
Right.
differently.
Mm-hmm.
And they could also, like, I don't blame them, and I don't, but I blame myself sometimes. Like, I have this kind of guilt
Mm-hmm.
after, after the incident is over, I feel
mm,
like, I could have reacted differently, but I didn't. So it's kind of
mm,
in a dilemma.
mm,
I'm in that position, like,
mhm.
where I don't know what is, in this respect, I am not 100% sure as to what is right or what is wrong when
Yeah,
it comes to
because we
me.
are not perfect parents and we are
Yeah,
still figuring out parenting, right? It
yeah,
doesn't come all of a sudden just because you become a parent. It doesn't start from day one. Like you said,
yeah.
you think about it after the incident is done, whether you did
Hmm,
right or wrong. That itself
hmm,
says that you are working on it.
hmm,
And
hmm,
you know that you think about it, you are retrospecting it, how it went,
hmm,
and
hmm,
um, hopefully you act a better way next time that the same
hmm,
situation or the same thing happens with your kids,
hmm,
right?
hmm,
So yeah,
hmm,
that's very right response in terms of how you are saying it. But I don't
hmm,
think you should blame yourself or feel guilty that you're not doing it the right way the first time,
hmm,
because
hmm,
uh, we are not perfect. It's all we're practicing like imperfect parenting one chapter at a time or one episode at a time. So it's
hmm,
totally normal that we behave that way. And I also agree that most of our responses now are coming from our parents' generation, the way they dealt
hmm,
us.
hmm,
Definitely, it has. It just stays in our mind that suddenly it just comes to us that okay, I was dealt with this kind of response, maybe
hmm,
that is right and that's how you react. But
hmm,
now with the change in times and lot of information, lot of uh, uh, resources floating around, and especially not just with the resources, especially with your kids reaction, that certain reactions that our parents did or gave to us might not be right the way they did,
hmm,
right?
hmm.
And
Yeah.
there is a better way to deal with, instead of hitting, which was
Hmm,
the first response back then
hmm,
for
hmm.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. What are your thoughts on? I'm sure you were also hit multiple times by your parents
Hmm.
during childhood. What are your thoughts on how it impacted your mindset?
So, this I was, this I was thinking recently. Uh, my dad, he was a single child. Actually, it would be wrong to say he was a single child. He was an orphan, actually. He lost both his parents. And he was staying with his maternal uncle and aunt with their family.
Hmm.
And the stories that I have heard from him growing up are more around, like, you know, he was disciplined a lot. And disciplined, as in, now I don't feel that that was the right way. He was
Mm,
disciplined in a very wrong way. Okay.
mm, mm,
And I feel that's the thing, that's what, he also did with us. Like,
right.
not consciously,
Mm,
because he felt that's the right thing to do. Like,
mm.
if you have to discipline a kid, what do? You hit them
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what they were taught.
That's what they were taught.
Yep.
And even I thought that that's the right way.
Mm,
But at the same time, I feel that if I, like, I have started hitting my kids since they were around 1.5 or 2. Okay.
mm, mm,
And that's too early. I think I shared with you also, that's too early. Like, if they are doing something wrong, like,
mm,
not not trivial things, but something that I feel that they shouldn't have done really, and then I have hit them. And later I regretted thinking that, since, as you said, there are a lot of, resources. So there was this particular book on parenting that I was reading about, and it
mm.
was mentioned that you are the safe place for your kids, right?
Yeah.
The moment you hit them, they get confused, because they love you a lot, but when you hit them, they also have this kind of small fear in their mind.
Mm, mm.
So that is not correct, right? That impacts them.
Yeah.
right? I feel, I don't know how to put it there, that there's this instance that I remember. One time what happened. It was it was a weekend only or something. At least it was. I didn't have school,
Hmm.
and a couple of our neighboring aunties, they were chatting.
Hmm.
Okay, and I was also, I don't know what I was doing there, and
Hmm.
I found their chat or gossip very
Interesting.
interesting. And I was sticking around, I was hanging around there only. Okay,
Hmm.
it was getting late for lunch, and my mom, she was calling me constantly, because
Hmm.
how it used to be, all the houses, they were nearby. And my
Hmm.
mom, she was from her balcony, from our balcony, she was calling me, come for lunch, come for lunch.
Hmm.
And I was
Hmm.
not paying any attention to what she's saying. Okay,
This gossip was more interesting.
this gossip was more interesting, and I don't know why. I was a kid, but still I was just hanging around. I was playing there. I was jumping around them. And then finally, when I really had the urge to eat, when I really felt that hunger, I went back home for lunch.
But
And you know
instead
what
of
happened
food, you got
afterwards?
something else.
My mom, she used hanger, and that hanger, that aluminium hanger, that also bent in shape later, because she used it. So I cried, definitely I cried. But I don't remember whether I cried out of hunger or I cried out of pain, okay? But the good part was, once I used to get a beating from one of my parents, the other one, he or she used to come around and, pamper us.
Hmm.
So I remember my dad, he fed me. So for me, this is both a happy, sad, and a funny memory. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So I don't judge them, but I find myself also in similar situation, where if my kids, they are not listening, I
Hmm.
want to, I want to have control over them. But at the
Hmm.
same time, and that's the natural instinct, like the natural thing that I have seen, that's how I want to conduct myself. But at the same time, I feel no, 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 this is not right. This is not right, because this will have an impact. And
Hmm.
something that bothers me a lot is like, no matter, like this is like a universal thing for me, like no matter how good or bad you are as a
Hmm.
parent, once your kid grows up, they might have some, you know um like some thoughts about, that this was not right. My mom did this wrong, my mom did that wrong, or my parents, they didn't treat me
Hmm.
well, they could have done this differently,
Hmm.
right? What do
Yeah.
you think?
Exactly. I I brought up this topic because
Hmm.
that's exactly what I thought that
Hmm.
when I was growing up, because
Hmm.
as I said, she's a single mother, and there was a lot of societal pressure on her to, act a certain way and raise the kids a certain way, because and that in turn, she maybe her way of reacting to certain situations was because of that, and um, which kind of came on to us in a negative way.
Hmm.
Example,
Hmm.
like hitting, obviously.
Hmm.
And there were also times where, she would always want us to be good at studies, um, because everybody expects us to be, you know, the top the class all the time. So,
Hmm.
and I'm sure it's not just with her, because she did everything that she could, and she did her best at those times. And I'm not complaining that she did something less to us, and or I don't love any less
Hmm.
my mom. But
Hmm.
yeah, generally also. Desi parents, they have this constant comparison with other kids, especially during
Oh my
schooling,
God. Hmm.
as to, okay, they've done this or they've got these many marks in this subject, why haven't you got it? Or
Hmm.
if you get second rank in one maybe in one test or
Hmm.
one year, and
Hmm.
then third rank in the other one, and you
Hmm.
get like lot of taunts and everything, like
Hmm. Hmm.
so that whole year until you get a better rank, for every
Hmm.
question that you ask, there comes a sarcastic answer back
Hmm.
from her,
Hmm.
or
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
taunting, saying,
Hmm.
oh, you can't even get the first rank in your class, why do you need this,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
something like that. There's always
Hmm.
this constant sarcasm paired with criticism that
Hmm. Hmm.
happens during the entire childhood.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not sure if everybody in my school, at least with all my
Hmm.
friends, most of the friends' parents that I have seen, this is a
Hmm.
common criteria everyone had, that they
Hmm.
had this comparison with other kids, and that puts a
Hmm.
lot of pressure on us. And unknowingly or knowingly, they do this, but
Hmm.
it creates this pressure in the kids that they have to
Hmm.
outperform everyone. And
Hmm.
that's something I remember distinctly from my childhood, which
Hmm.
which kept going on for years and years, and
Hmm.
that's one of the things I absolutely hated. And even now, I don't think their mindset has changed in that terms.
Hmm. Hmm.
Maybe even for our kids, they would expect that they have to be better than other younger kids.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
think this is one mindset that would never change, or even if
Hmm.
I try to change, something gets back to me,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
I'll get a sarcastic answer back
Ah.
from her saying, "Oh, you have all grown up. You are running by yourself. You'll say
Ah.
anything now. I've raised
Hmm.
you with all my hard work during your
Hmm.
childhood. I've
Hmm.
I've done everything, and now you guys are taking your own decisions." So
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
thing is also like, I feel like they try to say that we are being disrespectful by bringing up these valid points
Hmm.
when they
Hmm.
have
Hmm.
nothing to argue. This is
Hmm.
the thing that they bring up, saying, "We
Hmm.
have done everything for you. What are you doing for us? Is this
Hmm.
how you treat your
Hmm.
parents?"
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Right.
Has
Right.
this ever happened to you?
Oh my God, just the moment when you shared about this marks comparison thing, no? So this was not even in childhood. This was when I started working. Okay. And you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I remember during childhood, at least I didn't feel we have any monetary restrictions. Okay. We
Mm.
were provided what we needed with, and there was no such, money problem as such, or
Mm.
we were not aware of that.
Mm.
But when I was around, like when I was in 11th or 12th standard, my dad, he lost his job because the factory got shut down. And then it was like, it was in my own conscious mind, I started feeling that, we are getting poor. We have lesser resources. Okay. But anyways, with that also, he made sure that I could go to college, complete my engineering. And when I joined job, I remember this one time, not exact, I don't exactly remember when, but one time my mom, she was like, my salary was obviously very low just because I started, and like,
Just start.
she, yeah,
Mm.
she said this thing that about another peer of mine,
Mm.
about another girl. She was also, I don't want to take names.
Mm.
So she was working in Hyderabad or somewhere, and I was working in Kolkata. And she was like, look at her, she's doing so well. She, she's doing this for her parents, she's doing that for her
Mm.
parents. And but this came in a sarcastic way. This didn't came in a constructive way.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
this brought me into tears, feeling that, why are you doing this thing to me?
Mm. Mm.
Because you did what you could do best, and I did
Yeah.
what I could do best. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm not, blaming you for for anything.
Right.
But this way, you are hurting me only.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
We don't want to judge them, that is for sure. As you said very rightly, that you love your mom, I love my parents as they are. But at the same time, there are these instances where we felt really
Yeah.
hurt.
Yeah.
And the reason that you still remember these things, or I still remember small small things, is because they had a very big
Such
impact
impact. Yeah.
on our childhood, and still,
Yes.
right?
When now. Yeah.
Yeah, and even now. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, right?
Hmm.
They don't say it in a constructive way.
Hmm.
Yeah, there were a few instances with me also where it was just taunts instead of,
Hmm.
accepting us for
Hmm.
what we did or how we performed. Instead
Hmm.
of that,
Hmm.
um, at that time, what we would have needed most was that validation or acknowledgement that we love you, whatever you do, or
Hmm.
however you do. You are our
Hmm.
kids. Because the motivation could have come in a different way
Hmm.
instead of comparison or the taunts or
Hmm.
sarcasm or the criticism.
Hmm.
There are tons of ways to react or motivate a child
Hmm.
instead of making them feel low, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And a lot of children remember these because that affected them
Hmm.
um, in a, it's a strong word, in a toxic way.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm not I'm not shying away to use this word because
Hmm.
certainly there is a toxic behavior in reacting in such ways.
Hmm.
Um, it's not like they are intentionally doing it. It's just they
Hmm.
have been channeled there in their minds that their reaction is the right way to do it,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
like you said initially, right? That's
Hmm.
how they were raised by their parents, or that's how
Hmm.
they got reactions from their parents, and they feel
Hmm.
that it is normal.
Yeah.
And maybe
Right.
they didn't have the resources that we have now
Exactly. Hmm. Hmm.
to sit and introspect
Hmm.
that what they did was wrong. Obviously there were
Hmm.
a few instances where my mom came back to me and said sorry, but I can count
Hmm.
on my fingers. So
Hmm.
it was that few sequences or the situations where she came back and told me sorry.
Hmm.
Um, but the right way would have been, to repair it after you have done the damage,
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
make sure that your kids are not thinking that they're not allowed to express themselves.
Hmm.
One other
Hmm.
thing that happened to me constantly was not being able to, tell my opinion or express my feelings openly. I was just
Hmm.
um, shut down.
Hmm.
If I open or if I talk
Hmm.
back. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
how she thought uh, I was doing, because
Hmm.
that's a respectful way of answering her. If I
Hmm.
talk back,
Hmm.
that means I'm insulting her. So
Hmm.
that's one more way where my lot of my friends also we talk that even my mom is. That time we used to joke about these things, saying,
Yeah.
my
Right.
parents are also same.
Hmm.
I also
Hmm.
used to get
Huh.
beaten by my parents. We
Hmm.
used to
Hmm.
just talk it like fun, but now
Yeah.
that you think about it, especially after you become parents, you know how
Hmm.
wrong it was.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and that's why I think that there are certain things I would never do with my children, like like how my parents did.
Hmm. Hmm.
Not that they were absolutely shaming me or treating me in a bad way. No, she did the best that she could. That's why I'm here.
Hmm.
And she did all she could do at that time with the limited resources that
Hmm.
they had.
Hmm.
I keep
Hmm.
thinking that what if there were this wealth of information back
Hmm.
then, would they would have definitely made use of it and
Hmm.
reacted in a better way to make us better children, and in turn make our lives better and
Hmm.
all. But no, it wasn't there, and that's all they could do.
Hmm.
That's
Right.
why I keep thinking that yeah, I should not react the same way as
Hmm.
my parents did with my
Hmm.
children, because uh,
Hmm.
I know a lot of my. I also snap at my kid. I also
Hmm.
yell at him.
Hmm.
Uh, I never hit him. Maybe once. I was just out of.
Oh.
I lost. He was on my nerves, and then
Hmm.
I just hit on his bum, but
Hmm.
but I
Yeah.
felt so
Hmm.
awful after that, and
Hmm.
that also I think it came from my childhood. It's kind of a trauma that stayed in my mind, that's the reaction that you give when kids
Hmm.
irritate,
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
we were not made to sit down and explain how to react or how to act in a certain way when we were kids, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but after that incident, I never
Hmm.
hit my kid, and I always try to
Hmm.
control,
Hmm.
even if they're kids, they just be kids. But that
Hmm.
behavior is a lot for us to handle because they
Hmm.
want to
Right.
show control on us. And obviously, it's not like we are showing control on them, but we want to, instigate certain positive behavior in them, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I try my I think about my past, and that's my motivation to to be a better parent in terms of
Hmm.
handling with
Hmm.
certain situations.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's where I draw a comparison as to, okay, this was wrong when it happened with me, and I
Hmm.
want to make sure that
Hmm.
wrong is not happening with my children.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
Right.
I was about to ask you when you said no. That so. What I was about to ask you is, do you struggle with your parenting style and with the way you were being treated? As you said that you hit him once, but you try to control. But
Yeah.
is that like a very big struggle for you? That
Initially, it
instinctly.
was.
Hmm. Hmm.
Especially in his after he turned one. Definitely, those times are challenging, and those times
Hmm.
they're more naughty, and they test
Hmm.
our patience like anything.
Hmm.
And the first response at those times, initially, what I have seen was hitting, or
Hmm.
just just shooing away them.
Hmm.
But I kept telling myself that no, that's not the right way. That's not the right way. I can be a better parent. So
Hmm.
I just keep thinking to myself that, okay, that's not how I will treat my children, because I
Hmm.
want to set an example for them, because
Hmm.
they observe a lot from us and
Hmm.
learn, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't want to be that negative behavior, instigating that negative behavior in them.
Hmm.
That's my motivation. Obviously,
Hmm.
I am having the triggers from my childhood that, okay, my mom
Hmm.
behaved in this way, so I should
Hmm.
also behave in this way. But
Hmm.
no, should I? So that I keep thinking that, should I also behave in this way? What am I teaching my child, or
Hmm.
is this
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
Is this coming out as too negative on our
No, no,
parents?
no. No, no, no. So you said no that it start like the first time I hit was it was like a gentle tap on the bump only. But then I felt that since I did it once, I started doing
Hmm.
it again and again.
Hmm.
And then from gentle tap, I don't know for them when it became a very strong.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also now what I also try to do is I also try to control myself that no matter what, I should not hit them.
Yeah,
But then again, I feel that we do have resources to, to teach us or to, we
exactly.
do have that at least that provision.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's just that you might have, you might have a bad day. You might be
yeah,
upset with something
yeah.
in your, say, in your career or in your like
The
any
work.
it could be anything, yeah,
Mm.
it could be anything, and it just comes out at them, and then
Yeah.
later I feel I shouldn't have,
Mm.
because they had no role in that, and then I
Mm.
blame myself, why did I do this?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's not just from our childhood parenting, but there are a lot of
Hmm,
other things also that goes on in our minds, which
hmm,
might the reaction might instantly come out on our kids, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
one tip that works for me always is that I
Hmm.
just uh, the tantrum lasts for about not more than couple of minutes, that but
Hmm.
those couple of minutes is the most challenging time to
Hmm.
control ourselves and work on
Hmm.
it, right? So
Hmm.
I start singing a song in my head until
Oh,
the
really?
stop
Huh.
until he stops
Huh.
crying. And
Hmm.
one other big thing for me is um, my kid crying triggers my anxiety at this level.
Hmm.
I get so anxious when he starts crying. That's the
Hmm.
reason why initially I used to get so panicked as to, okay, he's crying, I should do something,
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
should make him stop crying. That was
Hmm.
my initial thought process.
Hmm.
But yeah, with the resources that helped me, and also my own thinking or the retrospection, it helped me think that that's not the right way. And so I did I did a googling, and I got few tips, and one of the tips that worked for me is just start singing a song in your mind. Just forget about him crying. Don't think about the crying as a trigger. Just leave it. I hold
Hmm.
him tight. I give him a hug. I just say that,
Hmm.
okay, if you're done crying, come, I'll give you a hug.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
know this is a very cliche way of gentle parenting, but this has absolutely worked with me.
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
cries for a couple of minutes. That's the
Hmm.
most, it's like the roof will blast. He
Hmm.
cries like that. But
Hmm.
yeah, it works. It takes a couple of minutes, but it calms down. So
Hmm.
yeah, that's one thing that works out for me. So
Hmm.
it all it takes is some effort from you to figure out what works for you during those times,
Hmm.
instead
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
reacting and hitting as the first response.
Hmm. Right. Right. Is there any
Hmm.
particular song that you sing, or it could
Nothing,
be anything,
nothing, whatever comes to my mind,
whatever
just
comes to your
random.
mind?
Yes.
Wow, this is a nice trick.
Yeah. And I
Oh,
heard some people just plug in their noise cancelling headphones also when their kids
okay.
cry. When
Hmm.
because I I was worried that why is my child crying triggering my anxiety, and I googled, and
Hmm.
I was not alone. There are a lot of
Hmm.
women who feel that their kid crying
Hmm.
starts anxiety in them, and there are a lot
Hmm.
of ways to deal with it.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if this totally came out as negative on our parents, but we absolutely love our parents for whatever they did. Um, Obviously, there were a lot of positive moments that I did not
Yeah.
bring it up in
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
conversation because happy
Hmm.
moments are rarely discussed.
Yeah, right. You only remember the sad
Only
ones, the
the sad
traumatic
ones,
ones.
or the more negative ones are the ones that we remember, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, obviously we love our parents a lot, and
Hmm.
we have ups and downs. We had ups and downs during our childhood,
Hmm.
especially these comparisons, criticism,
Hmm.
commenting,
Hmm.
sarcasm, all of these
Hmm.
things. On a
Hmm.
lighter note, the sarcasm I enjoyed even
Hmm.
now.
Hmm.
So yeah.
The comparison still stays, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's an end to it.
Yeah,
Even now,
yeah,
even now the comparisons are like, oh, how much are they getting here?
yeah,
How many houses did they buy? How much did they
yeah,
buy?
right.
So
Yeah,
the level of comparison changes, but it never stops.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah. I think we can agree on that. I think all of us, all the kids, they can agree
Yeah.
on that front at least, that the
Yeah.
comparison still stays,
Yeah.
right?
I think I can still keep talking and talking, but
Hmm.
um, uh, we'll stop for now.
Yeah.
And guys, let us know what you think are your favorite memories or the favorite comebacks from your parents for reactions during your childhood. Let us know
Yeah.
how this episode went.
All right. So we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
And please like and subscribe and share with your friends. Till then, bye bye.
Bye bye.